Hi, welcome to A Chef Called Rhonda. I'm Rhonda and this is my kitchen. And today I'm going to show you how to properly roast vegetables. And today I'll show you also how to use a cookie sheet for something other than cookies. Today we'll be making Verdure Arrosto, roasted vegetables. Dry heat cooking in an oven has traditionally been associated with meat, poultry, and game. Indeed, the large cuts of meats, including a whole poultry, are often called roasts. Modern-day cooks are roasting other foods, such as vegetables, fish, and fruits. And roasting is the proper technique that seals in and intensifies flavors, as well imparts an attractive browning that resembles a caramel-like consistency. Stay with me while I show you how to properly roast vegetables. So grab your trusty wooden spoon and we'll all meet back in the kitchen for this classic Verdure Arrosto, roasted vegetables. Before we go ahead with the recipe, I want to give you the do's and don'ts on proper techniques to roasting, and we'll start with the don'ts first. It's important to know. Before I take you into our preparation area, the first thing people do wrong when attempting to roast vegetables. Number one, randomly cutting your vegetables. That's a no-no, and they will not cook evenly. Number two, if you roast in glassware, you will not be roasting at all. Glass doesn't transmit heat, and you will not get the desired browning or caramelization that we talked about. You'll just end up with a steamy, mushy mess. Number three, overcrowding vegetables onto the pan is a big third no-no. If you overcrowd the vegetable, they'll steam and they will render yet again that pile of mush. That's a no-no. Finally, do not use too low of heat, and ideally 500-degree oven is considered roasting. If you attempt to set your oven on 350, again, you will not be roasting and you will end up with that steamy, mushy mess. You want beautiful, browned, caramel-like vegetables that have a very intense flavor. This is how to correctly roast your vegetables. And by watching the video, you will note each step is followed in that correct order. First, we have to choose the correct pan. A metal pan with sides no greater than 1 inch. Metal is a conductor of heat, and it goes right to the vegetable and cooks them evenly. The low sides of the pan allow for the steam to escape. We also need to cut our vegetables correctly. The denser the vegetable, the smaller the cut. Root vegetables such as sweet potatoes, parsnips, white potatoes, carrots, and so on are dense. Less dense vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, and peppers can cut a little bit larger because they're open and will give way to the roasting. Finally, the seasoning process. Today's recipe does require about 2 tablespoons of a good quality salt. And the salt, with the heat of the oven, yet again 500 degrees, will pull out each flavor individually from the vegetable, thus combining a beautiful, pleasing taste on the palate. Olive oil, a good quality extra virgin olive oil. I add the olive oil onto each and every piece of our vegetable. About adding a shine to the vegetable cuts with the oil. Give that good hand of salt right across the pan. Raise that heat 500 degrees. That's our roasting. Anything else below 500 degrees is just considered baking. Okay, let's take a minute here as I glove up. Please, if you haven't already subscribed to A Chef Called Rhonda, would you consider doing so? And I wanted to give a good shout out. We have now crossed the 50 subscriber mark. Yay, can you believe it? Hi to all my subscribers. As you can see here, we're working with an array of vegetables today. I have both root vegetables as well as nice open and airy type vegetables. I have a good quality olive oil as well as my Italian seasoning and of course the salt. At hand I'll have 2 serrated knives, one small and one large, and of course the trusty wooden spoon is at hand. I'll use my glass preparation bowl for my olive oil. Of course we have our vegetables. At this time I utilize about maybe 3/4 cup to a cup of extra virgin good quality olive oil in my preparation bowl. I'll start with my sweet potato. Sweet potato is a little bit dense, or very dense I should say, and I'll remove each end. I will then half the sweet potato and then half it again. And once I've broken them evenly, I'll turn them lengthwise and start to cut about 1 to 1.5 inch cubes, and they are as close to evenly cut as possible. Once I've cut my sweet potato, I will move on to my white potato. Generally speaking, I do start with all the dense vegetables at first, removing the ends of the white potato, splitting it into half, and then halving it again lengthwise, and turning it and cutting again into 1.5 inch segments. And you can see here cuts are pretty even. My parsnips, I'll start and I'll remove about 1/2 inch from each end, and then yet again I will cut them lengthwise one time, and then I will also cut them into little 1.5 inch cubes. And I'm trying to keep all my vegetables predominantly evenly sized because we want the cooking process to be even as well, and we want our vegetables to be completely roasted and done almost simultaneously. I chose to use baby carrots here. I marketed for the whole baby carrots, and I use about 10 to 12. I don't do anything with those, I just put those aside. I have a couple of sweet bell peppers, and I will remove the top and clean the outside and then slice in half and half again. And if there's any veins that remain, I traditionally clean the vein and discard. And I leave my bell peppers in a larger texture because they will roast quite nicely, but I want them to retain their shape as well. And if you cut the peppers too small, they will then disintegrate. Next, I have my broccoli. I'll remove the end of the broccoli and I will make my florets. And I like to leave the broccoli in nice chunky fashion, and same with the cauliflower. I'll remove the greens or any leaves from the cauliflower and then segment the cauliflower into florets. So you can see as my cutting board is starting to get full, I'm now working with the yellow bell pepper here, and I have my 2 zucchini which I will cut lengthwise. I'll remove each end and discard the ends, but then I'll cut them lengthwise, and then I'll cut the lengthwise portion in half. Again, zucchini is a open type vegetable and it has a lot of water, so I leave it in a big chunk, if you will. So next is my eggplant. Again, I will remove both ends. I will cut the eggplant in half lengthwise, and then I will cut that in half again. So I'll have nice chunky pieces of eggplant. Now I'm going to add a bit more olive oil here, and we're going to start the process. Okay, you can see this cookie sheet is just that. It's a cookie sheet. It's a metal pan, 1 inch side, and I'm going to use this for roasting our vegetables today. Now, duly noted here, please watch the process as I add the oil to our cut vegetables. I'm going to do this by hand, and yes, as you know, I wear my vinyl gloves, and I will wet my hands with the olive oil, and I will rub each and every piece of my vegetables to create a shine on the vegetables. And it's important to note that each vegetable cutting should be shiny, because that will give way to a nice caramelization, a deep browning, and render a wonderful tender flavor. So I will keep my pan uncrowded, and sequencing is important here. So duly noted, I have all my root vegetables seated next to each other. Not to overcrowd the pan is crucial, because if we overcrowd our pan, we will end up steaming our vegetables in lieu of roasting. Our oven is preheated to 500 degrees. It's now time to add that good quality sea salt, and I'll give a good 2 tablespoons across the pan, and I will evenly distribute that nice salt right across, because we want that salt to pull out the individual flavors of each vegetable. Okay, it's time. We are there. Our oven is preheated, 500 degrees. We'll situate this into the oven, and we will allow the vegetables to roast for 22 minutes. And it's important to note, I really wouldn't open the oven door unless your oven is temperamental. I would leave the oven door closed. After the 18th minute or so, you can give a check to see if it's caramelizing, but try to keep that oven door as tightly closed as possible. We are done. There we are. We have our pan of roasted vegetables, and you can see the nice browning effect on the vegetables, the broccoli, the cauliflower. There they are. The eggplant looks perfectly done. Our potatoes and our carrots, our red peppers are so bright and cheery on our pan. It's time to add that Italian seasoning. I add about a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning into my hands, and I'm going to sprinkle the seasoning across the pan, and then I'm going to incorporate the seasoning onto each vegetable by hand. And it's important to do this so each vegetable will have that nice bit of seasoning when it hits your palate. You can see the nice broccoli there with the browning effect, and the cauliflower. They're just perfectly done. So we'll rotate the seasoning in a couple of times. Be careful to go gentle here. And that's it, folks. There we are. We have our roasted vegetables. Now, next step in the process is to plate it, make it look pretty, and serve it with a tad of good quality balsamic vinegar. And there we are. I hope you enjoyed today's roasted vegetables of Verdure Arrosto. We are finito. Our Verdure Arrosto is finito, complete. I want you to see how the vegetables remain bright in color, yet you can see a slight browning, which likens towards a caramelization on the vegetable process of proper roasting. It's a moment of truth here. We're going to try our vegetables. And try our Verdure Arrosto, or roasted vegetables like an Italian. Oh, the pepper with the zucchini and the cauliflower, and just enough salt to pull out all the natural flavors. Oh, this is a win for Sunday dinner or any dinner. This is a perfect side. You have your root vegetables, your greens, all your beta carotene. It's a wonderful option. From my kitchen to yours. Doing as a channel. Hi to everyone, and thank you so very much. Please, if you have any comments, questions, email me, hit that like button. Many, many thanks again. If you haven't subscribed to A Chef Called Rhonda, please would you consider doing so? It's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. Until we meet again, arrivederci, bravo, mangia, perfecto, bye, bye, salud.